Hello friends, in the previous video, we learned to install Git and Apache web server. In this we are going to configure Apache web server to implement a Git server. First, we will configure a basic Git server without authentication. Means any client user can access the Git repositories without password. After that we will learn to configure our Git server, to access only through username and password.
We need to create a root folder to store our repositories in server. Here I am using a folder named repos, in bar www.html to store the repositories. For that open the terminal in root user, and type mkdir repos. Then give read and write permission to that folder. For the type chmod -r777 repos. Now the read and write permission is enabled for all users in this system.
Open the repos folder. Then open terminal here.
Now, we are going to create our first repository. For the type git init, bear first in the terminal. We need to enable HTTP receive pack in our repository. For that open the folder first.
Then open config file in text editor.
At the end of this file, add HTTP receive pack equal true.
After that save and close the file.
Now we need to give permission for the system user Apache to access this repos folder. For the type chown Apache repos in the terminal. Then type chgrp r Apache repos.
The configurations for the repository is completed. Now we need to configure Apache web server to redirect Git HTML request to Git tool in our system. The configuration file of Apache web server is stored in etc httpd folder. Open the location. We need to create a separate folder to store Git configurations. For that open terminal here in super user. Then type mkdir git to create a folder named Git. Open the Git folder in terminal to create our Git configuration file. Type gedit git.config for that. Now the file is created and opened in text editor. Save the file. Then open the config folder. Here we can see httpd.config file, which is configuration file of Apache web server. In this we need to include the git.config file. Then open the httpd.config file in text editor with root permission. Then here add include git/git.config. Then save and close the file. Now we can simply modify the git.config file for the modifications. Then open git.config file. Then add setenv git_project_root to set the root folder of the repository. Then type the path of our repository folder. Here type root var www html repos. Then in the next line, type setenv git_http_export_all. Then in the next line, type setenv remote_user equals $redirect_remote_user. Then in the next line, type script alias git usr libexec git core git http backend, which is subdomain name in the location of Git backend of server. Here I selected Git as the subdomain for Git server. Then we have to set execution permission and authentication in Git. For that in next line, type location, Git. Type options exec CGI. In next line, type auth name, Git. In next line, type auth type basic. Then close the location tag. Save the configuration file and exit. Then restart the web server. For that type, service httpd restart in terminal. The basic configurations for our Git server is ready. Currently the authentication is not configured. That we will configure later. Now any user can access our repositories without username and password. Our basic Git server is ready. To test that, open terminal in desktop. Then type git clone http localhost git first. you can see that the Git cloning is working. We can see the project first in our desktop. Then open first folder. For that, type cd first in terminal. Then create a file. For that, type echo testing, test.txt. Test.txt file is created in the project folder. Now type git add in terminal to add the modification in Git. Then type git commit -m first commit to add commit message. We can see the brief of modifications here. Since we cloned a bare repository from the server, we need to create a new branch named master in server. For that, type git push origin plus master in terminal. This is only required when we are cloning a bare repository. Otherwise, git push command is sufficient. Now you can see that new branch master is created in server. Open the test.txt file in text editor. Add second line for modification. Save and close the file. Then type git status to know the present status of project configuration. We can see that the changes are not updated. Type git add dot. Then type git commit -m second message. Finally, type git push to save the modifications in server. Now the Git server is fully functional. In next video, I will demonstrate to add authentication in our Git server. Thank you.